Hi, welcome to first episode of PrepEasy's informal MBA chat series. We are your hosts Anand and Abhinav. Today we are very excited to bring Rotman School of Business to you.
As you all know, Rotman School of Business is one of the leading schools in Canada. We are very excited to bring to you first up Alicia. Alicia comes from a BTech background. She's worked across industries, majorly doing operations and marketing, and brings about 4 years of experience. And her last stint was with Community Farm. Next up, we have Avantika. Avantika did her BCom honors from Jesus and Mary, that's part of Delhi University. She brings about 4 years of experience as well, doing HR management, and her last stint was with Accenture. Let's move on to our first segment.
Hi, Avantika and Alicia, thank you so much for taking the time out and agreeing to, speak to us about your experience of going to Rotman. We'll be starting with a section one of the interview, which is called Pick Your Fit. And in this section, we'll try to understand from you, how did you decide to, what was the process of going about shortlisting the college, and what was that prompted you to choose Rotman? So if I could ask Avantika, Rotman is, of course, a very well-recognized top quality institute around the world. Not only that, it is also situated in a country which is extremely visa friendly and immigration friendly. So how much of that played into your mind and into your decisioning while choosing Rotman? Of course, quality of the institute is something that everyone in India and globally recognizes, but how much was your decision motivated because of the immigration friendly stance of Canada?
I think definitely it was a big selling point for me to go to Canada as a geography to do my higher studies. While Rotman is a well-renowned college for MBA. I also wanted to ensure that when I am going for an MBA after about 4 years of work experience, I do not end up in a country where I don't see myself landing a job after spending so much of time and energy and investing a big chunk of the amount also, right? So I think it was definitely there at the back of my mind when I was choosing my B school. And in fact, the B schools that I chose to apply to also were only based out of Canada and not any other geography. So definitely I would say that it was a big part that played into account when I was choosing the B school.
That's great. Thank you so much, Avantika, for answering that. Just switching gears and moving to Alicia. So, Alicia, rankings could play a very important role while you're shortlisting schools, right? I think one of the first things that everyone does is just go through the rankings overall and see what are the top schools that I can apply to. Now, Rotman for sure is one of the best schools in Canada, but might not fare so well on maybe FT rankings or economist rankings, which are the go-to rankings for most people, right? How did you decide to choose Rotman besides, like keeping aside the complete ranking aspect of it for FT, and on the fact that in Canada, this is one of the best schools and most known in and across Canada itself?
So I think the only time I used rankings was in the first phase of my research when I was just thinking of like which are the schools I want to apply to, because at that point I didn't know much about the business schools that were there. So that was the only time I looked at rankings, and even then I looked at it country-wise. So I looked at say like top 30 in the US, top 10 in Canada. I think there were only top 5 in Canada, a few a few in Europe. And after I decided that okay, Canada is something that it's a very attractive opportunity in terms of, the less anxiety you have post your MBA, the immigration friendly country. So once I decided that Canada is something that I definitely do want to seriously consider, it was pretty simple because once I zeroed in on Canada, Rotman was right there. So it was very simple.
Interesting take, Alicia. So this is something that even I resonate well with, because I keep talking to some people, and whenever they ask this question, how did you go about shortlisting your college? So my answer is always pretty much on the similar lines, that the rankings are made up of about 50 100 colleges, and if you just go by that, it becomes difficult. So when I was trying to shortlist my B school, I used a geography filter. So I think for the viewers out there, an interesting point Alicia made is, try to fix your country or geography with your larger goals in terms of personal and professional reasons, and basis that you could then reduce the filter to maybe 10 15 colleges, and then take your fit, or rather than trying to juggle between 50 100 colleges, because then it becomes an extremely daunting task. Interesting perspective, Alicia. While we are at it, if I could go back to Avantika, you mentioned that you applied only to Canadian schools. Of course, Rotman is amongst the top institutes within Canada, and like I mentioned in my previous question also, and most people recognize it. But having said that, I have also researched a bit about Canada, and I noticed that there are some other top quality institutes as well. And again, this is tying back to the rankings part of it, some of which happen to feature even above Rotman in certain rankings. So within the Canadian geography, the colleges that you applied to, what was your thought process between shortlisting Rotman as the school to attend?
Yeah, so between the schools that I chose to apply to, Rotman was absolutely a no-brainer for me. Considering that the amount of different avenues that Rotman was providing me as an MBA candidate, they were far more superior than any other B school in the Canadian region. There are things like self-development lab, which probably is not available in any B school in the entire world. Like not even just Canadian geography, but entire world, right? So that was a big selling point for me. Apart from that, Rotman, since it provides a 2-year MBA program, it also allows its students to get a 3-year work permit right after they finish their MBA, right? So that again was a big selling point for me. And apart from that, things like the diversity and how much Rotman, loves to have people from different diverse backgrounds. That is something that was again a very important aspect. That is something that I felt that I see myself being in such a school where the school really likes such kind of ideology like diversity, right? So that was definitely there on my mind.
I think it's great to see that you've considered such finer aspects of Rodman, like the self-development lab that you mentioned, which is a USP for them globally, not just in Canada, as well as the diversity factor, which I personally believe is very, very important in a B school environment, in a B school experience, right? Because when you're investing so much and you're going to a fresh new geography altogether, you need to get that diversity experience. You need to be sitting in the classroom where you have people from different nationalities, because it just brings a fresh perspective on the table, and it kind of helps you explore a different side to yourself, right? That you can bring out from such an experience. Great to know that. Uh, Alicia, one interesting aspect about your profile is that it's actually for both of you that you both went the GRE route rather than the GMAT route, right? So, Alicia, how did Rotman see GRE as compared to GMAT, which is actually a gold standard for B schools, right? Like how did they have a different take while you were doing a research on Rotman?
So this was something that I spent a lot of time thinking about during my preparation phase, because at the time I felt like I was more prepared to give my GRE. So what I did was I gave a GRE and a GMAT mock, and I felt, okay, GRE I can manage, it's easier. So I just decided to go ahead with GRE at the time. And I was a little concerned in terms of, okay, is it going to hamper my application? But I realized it really didn't. It never came up once at all. And even when once I got in and I started speaking to a lot of people, it turns out a lot of us, especially from India, have actually gotten through, using a GRE scope. So that is absolutely not true that you need your GMAT for an MBA admit. And even when it comes to scholarships, people say, okay, if you have a GMAT, you might have a higher chance of getting a scholarship. That really is not true. A GRE score is perfectly acceptable.
Interesting. So I think for the viewers out there, Alisha has quite openly and categorically stated that GRE is as accepted as GMAT, and people who are confused between the two exams, particularly for Rotman, I don't think the school has a preference versus GMAT or has a preference for one exam versus the other. I think some really good insights coming from both of you about the ideology and the thought process that you followed before choosing your geography and school. And the viewers can take away a lot from that discussion, which brings us to the end of our section 1.
Great. So let's move on to the next section, that is demystifying the application. This is a new segment, and this is a segment where we want you guys to talk about the finer aspects of the application. Right? We will go through the essays. We'll go through the interview section and how did that fare out. What is it that people should know when they are writing an application to Rotman? Right. So Avantika, let me start with you here. Rotman, in their essays, they look for something called the spike factor, which is again something very different as compared to a lot of other B schools, right? What is a spike factor, if you can define that, and how can one understand their spike factors while they're writing an application to Rotman?
Sure. So spike factor, according to me and according to my research, is basically a factor which differentiates you from everybody else who's applying for Rotman. We all have, a certain unique quality, and Rotman essay basically really makes you think about, what that unique quality is about you. Personally speaking, it took me about a month to write my essay, and be very satisfied with it. The Rotman essay basically made me, reflect upon all my experiences that I've had in life since childhood, since I was 4 years old. And it made me really carve out, what is it exactly that I've learned out of each and every experience in my life, and how has it been unique for me. And that in all, helped me to write that, that one essay. So I think that's what spike factor essay really meant for me.
Great. So the takeaway that I have from this answer of Avantika is that spike factor is something that a person writing the application really needs to resonate about their own life journey, and instead of focusing on some of the overheard and over expected criteria that one uses about academics or something, this is a slightly broader question, and you have to really see what is that one or two factors that differentiate you from the others. And based on my interactions from a lot of other people who've gone through Rotman, my understanding is this, and correct me both of you if I'm wrong, the factor does not necessarily need to focus on only the professional part of it. It could be a personal factor, it could be something that you're passionate about, adventure, sports, anything. So it's a very broad question which is trying to capture the overall essence of the profile of the applicant. Interesting. Moving on, Alisha, if I could come to you, if you could, share some light about what one can expect from the video essay, and at what stage is the video essay required? Is it a live question? Is it a recorded question? Is there someone interviewing you? Some of the finer aspects about the video question of the application.
Yeah, so firstly, at what stage you have to submit the video essay? It's while you're submitting your application. So it goes in with your initial application, and it is a recorded section, and it's not someone asking you. You will see a question flash on the screen. You will have like 30 seconds to think about it and a minute to answer it. So for the Rotman application, there are 2 video essays. I think one is 1 minute, the other is 1.5 minutes. Fairly very simple. And one benefit is that before you do the video essay, you have a trial section. And I mean, you can try it as many times as you want. And I felt that really helped me ease into the process. I sat there for almost, I think, 20-25 minutes trying different questions. Because, I mean, it's new for us, right? Talking to the screen. And you can watch it, rewatch it. So that was a very helpful part during the video essay section. And with regard to the questions are very straightforward. It's something that someone would ask you if you're out for dinner and the conversation has run dry. They might just ask you this question. So it's as simple as that. And I mean, from what I gather, I think what they're looking for at that stage is just to see how easily you're able to think on your feet and, I mean, give your answer in a composed manner. That's all there is to it. I'm pretty sure they're not expecting you to think of some great insight in that 30 seconds. It's just stay calm, deliver what you have to say without getting too flustered, and you should be fine. It's not something to worry about. In fact, I did delay my application a lot because I thought, okay, I need to prepare more for the video section. So I think an advice I would like to give people is don't delay your application because you're worried about the video essay. It's very simple, very straightforward, and just stay calm through the process. It's not all that complicated as it sounds. And also, it's not, one more thing, it's not just the video essay. So after the video essay, you have 2 other written questions. So it's you'll have a question flashing on screen and you'll have like 10 minutes to write it. It's very simple, and you'll have 2 of those questions. So it's a section that comes together. So 2 video essays and 2 written questions.
Great. So I think we come to the interview part. I just want to firstly pick up on what Alisha has mentioned so far, and she's very well summarized her experience doing the video. It sounds to me like a very daunting task, to be honest. But since you said it's not that difficult, I'm going to take your word for it. Just a follow-up question, just to clarify the whole thing, Alisha, would be that when you have a question flashing in front of you for the video interview, is this a dynamic question, or this is something that is given to you beforehand, or is like does it happen in real time and you have only 30 seconds to prepare for it, or is the question given to you beforehand and you can take multiple attempts at it?
No, so I spoke about the trial phase, right? Once you say, okay, I'm ready to take your interview, you don't have any more tries left. So you see the question on screen. You've never seen that question before. And it's a question that you might not have seen in your trial phase as well. The chances of that happening is pretty less. And as soon as you see the question, you have 30 seconds to think about it, and you talk for a minute. And you can't redo that. So if you mess up, you should immediately gather yourself again because you have the next question to deal with.
Great. As I said, it sounds like a daunting task. Avantika, let me come to you and understand how was your experience while doing the video interview. I think Alisha definitely aced it. She seemed very, very comfortable while doing it. Did you have the same experience as well?
Yeah, I think I resonate with what Alisha has said. Like the fact that we had some time to practice the video essays, that was definitely a big plus for me also. It took me like about 20 minutes to get used to talking to the camera and settling the lighting and one really important thing that I would want to say is that dress professionally, and while you're at the video essay, just make sure that your background and everything is absolutely clear, and you're in a professional setting. So that is very important. And just talking about my experience, I think even I spent about 15 to 20 minutes, preparing and, going through the questions which were, coming up on the screen. And then I just went ahead and I just did it. So, I mean, it was a very normal sort of questions which were asked. And I mean, not really daunting, to be honest. So nothing to be worried about.
Amazing. So I think what I understand is, for the viewers, if I could summarize it, the nature of questions is nothing very daunting, and you don't need to really be under too much pressure. I think what both of them are trying to say is that just be yourself, be confident. The idea of the video essay is to see how quick you can think, how well you can structure your thoughts. And Alisha mentioned the topic of the typical topic of the questions is a normal conversation that you would have with your friend. It could be something pretty standard, right? and I'm sure a lot of these questions, people do share some inputs about what was their question on internet. So go to some of these portals and prepare yourself before you get onto that. While we are at the application stage, Alisha, if I could ask you about the interview stage. We spoke at length about the application stage. Some schools follow a different approach for the interview. Some schools follow alum driven interview. Some schools have the interview set up with admissions committee. Some are over video calls, some are in person, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, different practices, right? If you could just touch upon the interview experience of Rotman, and what was the format like?
So for Rotman, the way it works is it's a one-on-one interview with the admissions committee, with a representative from the admissions committee, and it happens on video. So it's for most people, it's a 30-minute video call, and it's pretty standard. It's not. I think it's the most basic questions that you will expect for any MBA application. It's why MBA, why Rotman, why Canada, your short-term goals, your long-term goals. So it's very straightforward. I spent some time, I think I spent too much time going through all the blogs and collecting so many questions, but it's actually the most basic questions, which are the most important questions that they do need to know at the end of the day. So I think if you know the answers to those, it's fairly straightforward. But again, it's just a 30 minutes of standard questions. So you really need to spend time to think long and hard, introspect, know your story well, so that you'll sound put together and holistic during your interview section. Avantika, anything else during your interview?
Yeah, I think Alisha has covered it well. I would just tie it back to the essay because like I said, that it took me a lot of time to write down my essay, write down my story of the spike factor. So I think that in itself helped me a lot to prepare for my interview as well, because I took a lot of time to introspect and understand about my story better, about what is unique to me, and that really helped me to prepare for the questions that could come for the interview. And just like Alisha did, I also, researched on a lot of portals on the internet to see what are the kind of questions that were asked earlier. I also spoke to a couple of, alumni to understand what were the questions that were asked to them. A few students who were already a part of Rotman, what were the questions that were asked to them. And that's about it. I think that's all that I did for the interview.
I think a common aspect that comes from both of you is that it's a standard interview. There's nothing that's different or unique to the Rotman interview. It's as standard as any other school's interview would be, wherein they are just trying to validate your story. They are going to go through what you've submitted, what you've written, who you really are, and why do you think that Rotman and Canada could play a great role in your B school story, right? So one interesting factor that Avantika also mentioned is the research, that you spoke to so many different people, asking them about their experiences. Basically, you networked well with so many people, right? This brings us to our next segment, which is networking mantra. So let me start with Alisha. Alisha, networking is a term that people use in a very, it's a layman's term, right? And it has so many levels to it. There's so much depth in the whole aspect of networking with someone. How do you define networking in your experience? How was networking with Rotman? At what levels did you network, and who are the key stakeholders that you would advise people to network with?
So networking for me it just comes down to reaching out and starting that conversation. That's all there is to it. And when it comes to Rotman, who are the people I interacted with, it was mainly current seniors and people who have passed out at Rotman. That's about it. I think I reached out to about 4 or 5 of them during my application process. I actually wish I reached out to them before I started my application, but actually I reached out to them after I got the interview, and that's where I reached out to seniors. I wish I had reached out earlier, though I'm sure it would have helped. But nevertheless, so what I did was, it was again through LinkedIn. So I reached out to a few of our seniors, and I was surprised because there was not one person who didn't reply to me. All of them replied to me, and all of them so generously made so much time for me. So I was very impressed with that. So I was very, very impressed. And they gave me, I think, where their inputs really helped me was in crafting my answers for my interview. And you get that inside perspective, right? There's only so much you get while reading the website. So I felt like seniors really helped me in that. So networking really helped me while preparing for my interview phase.
Very interesting and elaborate answer. I think Alisha covered a lot of important points. How to reach out. She used LinkedIn as a portal. Who was she reaching out to? She was reaching out to current student and recent alums, and not anyone and everyone. And another thing that Alisha did mention was networking helps you understand the school better and makes your application stronger. So for viewers who are not sure how to network, Alisha gave you a lot of cues in her answer, and maybe something for you to think about. Just switching gears, Avantika, networking has two parts. One is networking with the alums and the current students, like Alisha mentioned. Another aspect of networking is trying to gel with the school and trying to make yourself invested in the school before you even submit an application. And most top B schools globally, because India being such a big geography and sending so many candidates, regularly host information sessions in India, particularly in the bigger cities, Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi, and some of these cities. How much of these sessions were helpful for you? Did you attend? What would be your recommendation for people who are targeting B school applications in the coming cycle? If you could share your experience about some of these events.
Absolutely. So I would say that attending these sessions is helped me supremely. I mean, I went for one session in Bangalore, and I happened to meet the same associate director who took my interview for Rotman. So you never know that during these sessions you might just end up meeting the same person who would assess your application towards the end. So definitely go for these sessions. It helps you network with prospective students, as well as the institutes that you are targeting. Also, it could be the institutes that you might not be targeting at that point in time, but after doing your research you might think that this school is something that I resonate with and I want to apply to. So definitely it plays a very big role and adds on to your application. In fact, when I sat for the interview for Rotman, this came up during my interview that like she actually told me that your face actually looks quite it resembles someone. So then I told her that we met in Bangalore, we spoke and stuff. So it definitely gives you an edge during your interview process. And apart from that, it could also be that there could be a few B schools which you might not have known about earlier, but after you attend these sessions is when you understand the vision of those B schools, and whether those B schools resonate with you or not. So definitely go for these sessions, and it will definitely help you.
It's great that you networked so well with the outcome that they even remembered you, right? They said that your face was familiar, and the best part is that you remembered that whom you'd met, right? Because of that, you could bring that out during the interview that yes, we've interacted. I came for that event. It just shows it shows initiative. It shows interest to a very high level. That okay, this is a candidate that's networked herself with the outcome, with the seniors. She's met people who finally interviewed her. I think there's nothing better that could have happened for you.
So our next section is support and guidance. In this section, the endeavor is to try to find who were the pillars who partnered in your growth journey and supported you through the B school application stage, given that how grueling this stage can be and how elongated the process is. So if I could maybe ask Alisha, Alicia, if you're comfortable answering this question, did you seek out for, because for MBA applications, it's a very common phenomena that a lot of people hire external consultants. Sometimes that support is available in-house because there are friends or family members who have done it recently. In your case, did you reach out to any of the external counselors, or do you think that is necessary in general for a B school application and also particularly for the Rotman application? If you could share your experience about that.
So to answer the question, I did not use the help of any of the admission consultants, but I did rely on my family and friends while I was working on my essays. So because these essays require you to think so long and hard about yourself, it's difficult. So what I would do is I would have long conversation with my parents and my siblings, because sometimes they help you uncover certain things about you that you don't know yourself, right? So those conversations really helped me in adding more inputs while I was sitting and writing down and in the self introspection phase. And another place where I took help was once I started writing down my essays. I found a few of my friends and family that I knew, okay, they would definitely help me when it comes to like proofreading my essay. So I would finish a first draft and I would send it to them, and they would get back to me with really small corrections, things like correcting my tense or my sentence structure or grammar or spellings. So that was a point where I felt I got a lot of help from my friends and family. So that was a thing that that was the point where I reached out. And when it comes to, is an admissions consultant required, I was talking to a few people about this very recently, actually. And what I found was, if you have a very linear past, as in if you have a very traditional background, it's very simple for you. It is much more straightforward for you to curate that essay. But if you have a very diverse past with experience in different industries, it becomes all the more challenging, right? Because for most B school applications, you have like 3-4 essays, and what they look for at the end of the day is all those 3 essays must paint one consistent and coherent picture. So that's where I feel like an admission consultant could help you if you are a little underconfident about how you're going to tie your experience in all those diverse industries and such diverse roles. So I feel that at that point, it's something you can absolutely consider, because they're just going to help you curate that story and present yourself better, because you do have the content, you do have amazing experience. But if you want that extra help to paint a great picture, I think you should go ahead.
You're actually one of the few ones, who did not seek any external help, which is great to see, because as you said, you reached out to your friends and family first, and they helped you uncover a lot about your own traits that you could, bring out and highlight in your application, which really helped. Another great insight is that you said you've had a linear past, right? And if you could connect with someone, or if you really come from a traditional background, I think there's enough and more information available out there that you could construct impressive essays, impressive application overall, where and an external consultant might not be needed, right? So just switching gears and moving to Avantika. Avantika, on the same lines as Alicia mentioned, friends and family, she reached out to first, and that was it. That itself was the end of the process for her, and she got all the help that she needed. Was it similar for you, or were you somebody who immediately jumped at finding the best external consultants, and you knew that you would require a consultant to work with, given that you were also balancing your job while you were going through the whole grind?
I spent a lot of time, introspecting and, writing down my story and, putting it in different areas. And then I put it all together and, it took me at least 4 to 5 drafts to, come up with the final essay. I sent it to my mom, dad, sister, every close relative that I could get my hands on, and that, I knew that would give me, the right feedback. And also 1 or 2 friends, who were very close to me and knew my journey, since childhood. So I reached out to them, I shared it with them, and, just to get a perspective about, how does it, sound like from a third person. But what I would suggest is that, if you don't want to go through a career counselor, it's always very beneficial to, just bounce off your essays through a few incoming MBA candidates, or probably people who are already doing an MBA from that institute, because since they have already gone through that process, they already know what is it that the B school is actually looking for, and they can give you very valuable feedback. So I think that is one advice that I would give to the prospective MBA candidates, which I didn't receive from anywhere, and I felt that I could have utilized that during my MBA process.
Amazing answer, Avantika. I think very, very important insight just Avantika shared. And the idea of doing these interviews is to get these hidden secrets which are not there anywhere, right? So outside of consultants, outside of family, well, it's very, very good and great that both of your families and friends were there to support you through this. But you could, an incoming prospective applicant could also reach out to, this is again going back to networking part of it. Try and reach out to some of the people. If not, I don't know, like there, you may be lucky to find someone who's willing to review your essays. If not, you could at least bounce off the broad themes and understand whether you're hitting the right points, because every school has certain principles, has certain ideologies it stands by, and those are the principles and ideologies and factors that they're looking in their applicants. Interesting insights, both of you. Great. So this brings us to the end of our current section, and we can now move on to our next section, which is called Busting the Myths. So there are a lot of rumors and misinformation that floats around in all these portals, and a lot of people share wrong information, unfortunately. So if I could ask, and this is an open question to both of you, do you have some myths that you would like to bust today about Rotman, about general MBA applications, about schools? Any of you?
I think I'll take that. So as far as Rotman is concerned, I haven't really come across any myths. But while I was researching and while I was networking, prior to my MBA application, I didn't only just reach out to to the Rotman students, but I also reached out to the general UFT students, University of Toronto students, just to understand how is the culture in the university. So what I heard from a couple of students was that the community culture was missing, because there were people coming from all over the city, and it's not like that everybody stayed in the same area. So that was something that was there at the back of my mind while I was applying for Rotman as well. But to be honest, now that I am into Rotman, and I'm already interacting with a lot of seniors and my own peers, I feel that that is a complete myth. At least from Rotman perspective, I feel there is a very, very, very strong community culture amongst the Rotman students, and every student is ready at the drop of a hat to help you with whatever question, with whatever anxiety or anything that you are facing. So I think definitely, I think if somebody comes to you and says that the community culture is missing, I think that's not true. The community culture is super, and I have no doubts about it.
Well, so people out there who've got any doubts or any complaints with the community culture at Tottenham, clearly, as Avantika mentioned, that's not true. Whatever you've heard, the school, I think, just like Canada is the country itself, it's got a very strong community culture. People are kind, helpful, and they would respond to you if you reach out to them.
I think we could now move on to our next section, next and last section. Given that both of you have seen such great success of going to a top school like Rotman, if I could ask you, some of your words of wisdom for the incoming applicants, some things that you would share that you thought, and Alisha, maybe you could take this one, for the incoming candidates who are targeting Rotman for the coming cycles, what would be your top 2-3 advice to them?
Okay, so I think I have two things that I'd like to say. The first thing, I did mention it earlier, but I'm just going to reiterate it. don't let your score stop you, because your score, your GMAT or your GRE is only there to get your foot in the door. There is no such thing as a cutoff. And don't, suppose you have a decent enough score now, don't delay your application saying, okay, I'm going to write the GMAT or GRE again and then probably submit my application. Don't bother doing that. What you can do is get your application in, go ahead and write your GMAT and GRE, and you can submit it later and use that to probably negotiate a scholarship. So that's something that you can do. Another thing I would like to say is, if you're planning to apply for next year, apply as soon as possible, because I think with what's going on currently worldwide, the application volume is going to increase for next year, and Canada is looking more and more as a very attractive destination for international students. So the competition is going to increase. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to be deferring this year and joining the next year's batch. So you're going to have that to deal with as well. So get your application in as soon as possible. So yeah, those are the two things I'd like to tell prospective applicants.
That's great. Avantika, your 2 cents on the Rotman journey, the Rotman applications, the top suggestions that you have for prospects out there.
Absolutely. So I would suggest that, again, as Alisha mentioned, apply as early as possible. Even if you happen to watch this video after a year or after 2 years, I think my suggestion would be the same to you. If you are targeting a good scholarship, then definitely apply as soon as possible. Don't delay whatsoever. Be it your GMAT score, GRE score, you feel you're underconfident, don't worry, just apply, and later just send in your score if you have to. And second advice would be that be very focused towards your application. I mean, if you are willing to go to a top school like Rotman, be sure that you have to start networking ASAP. Reach out to the students who are already studying at Rotman and reach out to the alums and understand their journeys. Ask them as many questions as you want, and that will definitely help you write your essays. That will definitely help you in your entire application process, your interviews, your interactions, everything, and be very professional. In each and every interaction, be it with the admission committee or be it with any of the students or any of the alums, because you don't know that who can help you at what stage, right? So just be very professional. Remember that you're going for an MBA, so you are entering the professional world. So these are the two things that I would suggest.
Can I just add on one more point that just came to mind?
Please.
So I think another thing that I think, because of what's going on right now, I feel like next year a question or a discussion that a lot of applicants can expect is, okay, what happened? How did you deal with the pandemic professionally as well as personally? And that's probably going to come up in maybe your essays, maybe your interviews. So if you think it can help, probably start a journal, probably start writing down certain things you're feeling or certain things you're doing right now, because it's going to be of help next year. So I think that's something that you can consider for preparing for next year.
Words of wisdom indeed, right? A lot of interesting insights coming from the complete segment. Firstly, if I could just summarize it, I think firstly, Alisha mentioned that don't let your score stop you. Start your journey as soon as possible. Start writing your essays. Submit your application, and then just be in touch with the school and tell them that you would submit a better school later, right? And given the crazy times that we are living in, the good thing is that a lot of schools, including Rotman, they do allow you the option now to submit an application and then submit the better score as and when you have it, and use that high score to negotiate your scholarships. That's very well put. And as Avantika also mentioned, that take it very seriously. Start now. Start ASAP. Start networking with people. Write to the adcoms. Start talking to the seniors, because next year for sure is gonna be a very very competitive year for B schools, and especially in Canada, because everyone's just rushing for that PR. They're all moving to that country because of the options that the country allows, and the leniency in the living situation there. Great, it's been a great segment as the previous ones. This actually brings us to the end of the session as well. Anant, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think it has been an extremely interactive and extremely insightful session. And I would like to, just thank the two of you for taking the time out, sharing your beautiful journey, sharing so many insightful views about the application, about how one should look at it. And that's all the idea of this initiative, is to bring out such insights for the people who are going to be targeting this. And yeah, just want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank
Same
you,
here.
guys.
Thank you
It
so
was
much
great.
both of you for agreeing to do this, and this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Likewise,
And congrats for your
likewise.
admit.
Thank you.